In today's video, I'm going to talk about a killer brand that is doing over $10 million every single month. The brand is called BugMD. They sell subscription products. They sell multiple types of products when it comes to pest control. And as you can see over here, if we take a look at SimilarWeb, they're getting around 3 to 4 million sessions every single month, which means that they're doing quite well. What I'm going to do in this video is bring you through several diagrams that I have prepared over here, just so you understand what strategy they're using. Also going to bring you through their ads and their funnels. They have a bunch of different active ads that I'm really curious or excited to talk to you about in this video. Before we get going into the video, if you don't know me, my name is Brando. I actively work with 8-figure clients and brands, e-commerce brands. This is just one of our own clients that in one day, in October, they did over $60,000 in sales, as you can see over here. Okay, now that we got the proof out of the way, let's just jump right into the video. Now, I wanted to start using this very useful tool called Autria. I like it because you can basically funnel hack everything that they're doing. If there's one major observation, okay, that I'm seeing that they're doing very well, is that they're dissecting. As you can see, they have so many different ads, or not ads, but essentially pages. They are dissecting their persona with a type of page and ad. And so as you can see over here, there's the rodent repellent page, and they have 200 active ads. And then there's another page for moths, and there's 27 active ads. And there's also other pages like this one over here, the RV life, which is basically in itself an avatar and lifestyle, a type of persona. And then there's so many other pages like the vamus, or whatever it's called, for mices, and there's also another one for fleas. And then there's basically so many other pages, as you can see over here, and they're absolutely killing it. One is also for dog owners, right, because of the mites or whatever. And so they are basically dissecting the entire marketing strategy by essentially scaling their avatars horizontally. Let me just show you this this little diagram over here. One way, if you think about scaling, is actually to go after different types of market segments. What is a market segment? A market segment is essentially a pool of people, different pools of people, okay? This is a really great way that typically 8 and 9 figure brands leverage to scale. And so to get to $10 million a month, if you think about it, it's actually quite easier. Instead of just having one avatar and one product, right, or with like 2 or 3 angles, and scaling that to $10 million a month, which can be a lot harder, you do it basically horizontally. So you have one different type of persona, avatar number 1 with 6 different angles. You have avatar number 2, the dog owner. Avatar number 3, the RV camp guy that basically goes out with their family in the RVs in the weekends, whatever. And then you have the one for dogs and stuff like that. You get the point. So they're very strategic at actually doing this. What you're seeing here, these orange ones, they're basically iterations. So they're scaling their top winners with iterations within the same angles and avatars. And that's how you get to like 10 million a month. You get to 1 million with one avatar, another million maybe with another avatar. It's just like a lot easier and manageable to scale. Okay. So this is a very smart way. And what I also want to say is that avatars, you have to be careful with how you choose your avatars. And I know that I speak a lot about avatars in my channel, but one thing that they're absolutely killing with is understanding which avatars they can scale and not scale. What is an avatar that you cannot scale? An avatar that, for example, doesn't have enough of a big TAM. So there's maybe only like 300,000 or 200,000 people in the US that are dealing with one specific problem, instead of maybe 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 million, 50 million plus people, right? An audience that is only 200,000, 100,000 is not really scalable. You can probably, even if you get like 5, 10% of the market, you probably won't even get to 8 figures. So you have to be very strategic at understanding that each avatar must have a good TAM, and it must focus on one major pain point or problem, and it must be specific and not too general, but still broad enough to scale. Okay, that's basically how you choose your avatars, and that's how they are doing it. Okay, one other observation that I made is that they're really smart at dissecting. It's kind of like the same argument. Instead of going after everybody in the US, they're dissecting their pages, as I shared before. All of these are different pages and different angles and avatars, but they're very strategic at going after one specific main point for one specific avatar, instead of going after the entire market, where this little gray dot would be you. No, they want to go deeper and basically create a blue ocean offer or product or marketing angle that resonates a lot more specifically with specific people, right? And so the way that they scale is that they start creating blue oceans and more blue oceans, so that it's they're expensive. The marketing is as expensive, or if it is expensive, it resonates on a deeper level, decreasing their cost per acquisitions. And so one other thing that they're really doing well as an observation is that they're making the entire process very congruent. So they have an ad that goes through an advertorial to a sales page to a specific product based on a specific pain point. Let me just show you one of their funnels so you understand what I'm talking about here. Let's just talk about, let's just see what they're doing here. This is just one of their pest control secrets, one of the pages that they're running to run ads. They have like almost 300 active ads just on this page. If we take a look at the landing pages and what they're doing with the landing pages, you're going to notice that all of these ads, let me filter by these ads so we can filter by the ads and also where they're sending it to. The ads are directly related to and congruent to this advertorial that I'm showing you over here, this listicle. And so one other thing that's really important is making sure that there's relevant ad congruency between what you're talking about in your ads and what you're talking about in your sales pages, and also what you're talking about when they move further along the checkout process, right? So these offers and the naming convention and everything that you touch base must be congruent to everything that you're showing them, so that of course you have higher conversion rates and higher average order value. Okay, so their sales process is very on point. They do have a lot of listicles and advertorials, as you can see over here, and this is just for just one page. Imagine for all of these pages that I shared with you, this one, this one, this one, they have like probably 15 to 20 different pages that they're selling to, and everybody has a specific landing page that is specific to that avatar. For example, this is probably going to be about I think mice, right? Yeah, rodents, mice, you get the point. And there is also another page about like moms, right? Bug hating moms, and the advertorial was also about like a specific mom or whatever, storytelling mom that's worried about their kids. So everything is super congruent, which also makes scaling the ads a lot easier. Okay, so this is one really cool element. Of course, an extra element that is really important to crack the code on is ad diversity. Okay, one tool that we like to use to see what's going on in the ad account, or sorry, not necessarily in the ad account, but what's going on in the reality of the ad, how successful is it, is a tool called AdSpy. I love this tool. It's like $150 a month, but it's absolutely worth the investment because you get to see what's actually going on the ad level and why it's working. So you filter by BugMD, by URL. I like to filter by the last 3 to 6 months in terms of active ads, when the ads were actually created, so it's relevant and I can take inspo from it. And then I like to filter by numbers of shares, because shares, likes not necessarily, but shares is a very important component of something people resonate with. So that's what I'm interested in. So this is an example of an ad that was created April 1st. So not too long ago, but still enough, still relevant enough when it comes to time frame. One thing that I noticed before I move on and showing you this ad and talking about it is that they're really doing a lot of diversification with the types of concept that they're testing, and they're doing a lot of image ads. If you see over here, all of their, not all, but like a majority of their ads are images. So images is like 70%, at least for this page, right? 70% of their ads are images, and then 30.9% specifically are videos. Okay. And so this is a really, really cool approach. Many people just talk about doing video ads, but image ads, if you know how to crack the code and touch base on the right pain points, can really, really scale. In fact, a lot of these image ads are very like unaware or problem aware, right? So they are basically, they're going to receive lower frequency. It's not like a retargeting ad like this one where there's like a product and there's like an offer. Of course, this is going to have higher frequency. It's going to be less scalable, still part of the funnel. And it's still important to have these types of very product-aware images in the funnel, but they're also very good at just, once again, doing product and unaware and problem-aware kind of like image ads that allow them to scale drastically. Because if you can crack the code with problem-aware and unaware ads, you can essentially scale a lot more in the marketplace. Okay, so one thing that I love about them is that they're doing very diverse types of marketing. Okay, if you take a look at these ads, they're very diverse. There's images, there's also different types of image ads and video ads. But this one over here, this tool I like to use because you can take a look at the actual real ad. This is what I wanted to talk about before I jumped into another topic. But this is what I like about this tool, is that you can see the actual real ad that is on Facebook right now active. 2,000 shares, 1.8 thousand comments. What I like to do is pretty much, this is part of the creative strategy, right? You can read all these comments and come up with congruent angles or innovative angles that maybe they didn't touch base on, but you notice because maybe one comment has like 1,000 likes or 50 likes, 100 likes, that people are resonating with it, and so maybe you can come up with your own angle. But one thing that I noticed over here is that this is a very simple ad. It says most people don't know this one tip to control mosquitoes, but did you know? Of course, curiosity factor. But basically what they're talking about here is like barbecue, hiking, outdoor fun is a nightmare with mosquito bites. So this is obviously an angle that is really working for them. Let's take a look at another example over here. This also is an ad that has, 800 comments, 1.7 thousand likes. Let's take a look at this other one. There was another one that was really, really cool. Let me just take a look at this one over here. Boom. Let's take a look. But this is a great strategy to just once again take a look at what's actually working in the marketplace. We like to, if it's a video, we break it down as well. Oof, that was a strong hook of a dead whatever rat, whatever you kind of want to call it. But this is 14,000 likes, 2,000 comments. Once again, I like to read all these comments to come up with inspo. At least my creative strategists do this. This is more of a long form copy, seems like, so I want to see what's going on when it comes to like copy and angle. Let me just read it. Worried about rats in your home? Say goodbye to harsh chemicals and dead traps with their plant-powered solution, rodent repellent. Okay, nothing special here, nothing specific, but they're touching base on a bunch of different points. And then it's probably going to lead to an advertorial, right? Or I guess a landing page that has this very long form. This is a very long form landing page, guys. It's full of information. What they're doing is basically they're talking about a problem, then they're talking about different types of things that people are tried, right? That cost money, things that they've tried, right? And then they go back into the science of how the product works, and then they basically introduce you see how it works, and then they talk about the price and the offerings later on after they go through the science and the information about the product. Then of course you can click through and buy the product yourself. Okay, so one thing that they're really good at, just to explain briefly, is diversity into their ads, especially after this Andromeda update. Facebook ads is looking for diversity. If you just do the same exact image with just a little tweak on the headline, right, it's gonna, Andromeda or the update or Meta is gonna batch all of these small variations into just one batch and increase your frequency. So it's very important that you test different types of creative concepts throughout your ad testing. So, features and benefit ads, B-rolls with like AI voiceovers, AI songs, funny AI songs, direct offers, pain-driven B-rolls, right? Like the mice one, that was a cool one, right? Split screens. You have to test as much as you can when it comes to concepts. And one thing that's really effective that you can do is if this concept is working very well, right? You can dissect it saying, okay, there's this angle, there's this avatar, there's this other hook that's working well, and you can transform it into another type of ad, right? Just by keeping the elements of what made that creative a winner, right? So you have to be very creative. One other question is like, how do you come up with these concepts? Like, where do you find them? It's actually not that hard. It can be quite fast. First of all, you can use these spy tools, so you know exactly what's working well for them and what's going viral, what's getting content, engagement, sales, by just taking a look at this ad spy tool, which is amazing. The second thing that we like to use is Atria. Once again, you can take a look at their ads. Another thing that we like to use is obviously TikTok. TikTok is great for organic. What goes well and works well organically can most likely work well in paid ads. So if we're looking at, pest control, this is the first time doing it's just like live, so bear with me here. But there's probably a lot of engaging videos that are just working recently. We're not really interested in like last year, like 2023, 2024. We want to look at trends that are happening this year. So this is like a video that's probably a raw UGC video of a person going through their experience killing mice or something like that. And so what we want to do is come up and study these viral components, these viral concepts that we know for a fact are working, and we try to replicate them. One other thing I like is using Atria, but with Atria, you don't know exactly how successful these ads are. I mean, you can always filter by longest running ads. This is a great tool, Atria, go take a look. You can filter by active ads, you can filter by longest running ads, but you don't actually know how much these ads have been live and how much they're spending, which is why I use Atria for creative research, and then I validate it through AdSpy, because you can take a look at all of their ads through this actual tool called AdSpy. So you take a look at the page. Once you know what the page is, you can also filter by like page, advertiser name, or landing page URL. Advertiser name is like the actual page, and you can find their ads. And so then you can validate, okay, this has 5,000 likes, it's probably going to be a profitable ad. There's my validation. Okay, so hopefully this video was valuable so far. I know that I went from one place to another. If there's maybe one other thing that I want to talk about, is actually tracking your tests. There's nothing more important than tracking your hit rate, tracking the success or the failure of your tests, because then if you don't, you're pretty much throwing darts at the wall, hoping it sticks, and so it doesn't. I guess throwing darts at the wall wasn't the best analogy. Probably like, I don't know, I forgot what the saying was. You're hoping something sticks on the wall, right? But it doesn't work like that. You have to be very analytical towards how you analyze your creative. So one thing that we do internally at our company is that we track hit rate and we track validation by making sure that we put all of these tests that we launch into the ad account into a sheet called a creative testing tracker. Let me just show you, because this is how it is. Demo Command Center, creative testing tracker. I always talk about this. There's also other people, as you can see, that are getting this. There's a link down below if you want the sheet. it's free, so it's up to you if you want to take advantage of it. But every single test that goes into the ad account, it goes into this sheet, and we track everything of the ad: the marketing angle, the main emotion, the avatar, the hook, the messaging, the copy, and the creatives, and of course other ad metrics like CTR, ROAS, CPC, spend, and whether it was a loser, a break even, a to be determined. And that's how we track our hit rate. If things are working, like, we can, first of all, we can filter by winners, we can filter by losers, but we always want to have learnings, right? If we don't, put our learnings here, it doesn't really make sense to like do an ad in the first place, because you don't analyze what actually happened on the ad level, and you cannot make valid, scientific-based, data-based, and hypotheses, right? So you want to be able to do that. You can do that by, of course, putting all of your tests into this sheet. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope this video was valuable and it was maybe eye-opening. That's my goal with these videos. If I can say even one thing that can just make you reflect, that's a win for me. If you are a brand, on a side note, that is doing at least $100,000 a month, feel free to book a call. We have slots open probably for just one more brand in Q4 before we close onboardings officially. But if you want to explore the opportunity to do business with us and be growth partners, you know what to do. You can book in a call. That's it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.